Ruh-roh, George.
Ruh-roh?
So, the rumor is Avengers 5 replaces Kang Dynasty, but it's actually Secret Wars Part 1, Part 2, because everyone loves a Part 1, Part 2 movie now, don't they? Ugh.
Well, this is what I think what Andre was saying they should have done anyway, is just canceled the Kang Dynasty and just jumped to the Secret Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so apparently it's going to be Part 1, Part 2. This comes from good sources, not bad sources, not like just being pulled out, my bumhole. So Jeff Snyder, who's had some pretty good tweets and pretty good scoops in the past, says, I told you that the next Avengers movie wouldn't be called the Kang Dynasty. The name Kang only conjures thoughts of Jonathan Majors. I said this before it was revealed that Marvel hired Waldron and stood by it when the trades kept calling it the Kang Dynasty. Effectively, Secret Wars is now a two-part conclusion to the Avengers saga, which actually follows on from some things which have been said before. So the editor and reporter of the Hollywood Reporter article that, reported on the fact that Jonathan Majors was fired, tweeted out, Marvel now has two options, recast or focus on a new villain. There are indications that Avengers 5 will now focus on a new bad guy. So it's already laying that framework. And it also follows on from the Variety article. This is why we know he's been gone for a while. The Variety article that just revealed all the chaos at Marvel says, at the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. So, two-parter, maybe Doctor Doom's in the future. I said this in my report earlier, was do Doctor Doom and build to Galactus. You can park Doctor Doom when you're dealing with Galactus. So then Doctor Doom can come back as a bigger threat moving forwards. He can be your ground level threat as we move up to the bigger threat of Galactus. Why don't they just do that? Because they're constantly so quick to go into the biggest and baddest sort of villains they possibly can. Just bring it down a bloody notch. Doctor Doom's a great villain. And I say ground level like it's demeaning. It's not. But it's not cosmic. It's not that, ultra planet destroyer level villain like Galactus or Thanos, right? Wiping out half the bloody universe. That's what I would want. That's how I would do it. But obviously this is Marvel and Disney and they're a joke right now, so they're probably never going to do that. But thoughts, what do you guys think of the whole thing? So 1 and 2, Secret Wars, Avengers, do you like two-parters, yes or no? And what do you think to Doctor Doom and Galactus? Or what would you say, I guess? What would you want done? Culture. Anytime now, mate. Jesus. You're muted.
My karate is not as good as your
yeah, sorry. My karate is wonderful. No. Look, the only thing here, and I can't get my camera to focus, which was what I was focused on a moment ago, is the fact that the only thing I think that will work will be
You're too busy looking at yourself, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I haven't had a nice beard. Anyway, look, Doctor Doom's the only choice they have going forward because they've got to somehow get the X-Men in play. And until they do, I mean, everything else is going to be difficult. And the problem is, as you saw in the Stinger, they're leaning heavily into X-Women and not X-Men. So I have a dark sense of the future that the X-Men could be eliminated before they even begin. So yeah, it is what it is.
We'll get to that in a little bit. That sort of alludes to a future topic. But what do you think? Do you reckon Doctor Doom's a good villain? What would they build towards? Because obviously Marvel loves building towards things.
Doom is actually their most popular villain, really. Sorry, I thought you were finished, Culture. Go ahead.
No, you're right, Tom. I mean, actually he has such an extended life, and he's been around for so long as a bad guy. I mean, this is like Thanos level of bad dude. Well, not quite, but real close. And
he was Thanos before Thanos, really, in the comics wise.
Indeed. And isn't he? He's also a mental match for Reed Richards.
Yes. He also has diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, and as somebody who really appreciates the Corman version of the telling of the Fantastic Four, which nobody really loves, just me. I really thought that that was the right direction to go. I thought that they were going to go into Doom anyway. They just had acquired Fox. Why are you going into this Kang thing?
Oh,
it didn't make any sense.
So stupid. They've never done anything with Fox. They bought it and they've done nothing with it. Completely pointless. Anyway, get annoyed with that.
Not only that, they had the perfect opportunity to have some fun with Elon Musk with this character, because you could almost treat him like an Elon Musk type of character. But the thing is he's so fucking egotistical, right? Like, that's the thing. One of the better versions of the character is he wears the mask because he's, in his eyes, deformed. And then when he takes the mask off, it's just a little scar on his face that he's all fucking, all upset about. So I love that version of the character. I mean, of course, in the original version, I think he was much more deformed, but no, like, it's just, he's a character that is grandiose. He was like Darth Vader before Darth Vader. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Lucas pulled some inspiration from Doctor Doom. He's that kind of a character. He is a demanding presence. Like I said, in the Marvel Universe grand scheme of things, like, I didn't know who the fuck Thanos what really was outside of mentions of him here and there until the movies made him out to be a bigger thing than he really was at the end of the day. Because my understanding was the whole reason he snapped half of living beings out of existence was just so he'd get a piece of pussy. And that's true. If you go back to the original story, that's what it's all about. He wants to impress Lady Death. It has nothing to do with bringing balance to the universe or any of that kind of grandiose stuff. That was all added in the Marvel movies. So, I mean, you could have some, honestly, I thought the obvious place to bring him in would have been Black Panther 2, because you have two different countries that are made up in this universe, right? You have Latveria and you have Wakanda.
Yeah.
And you could have had like a little imaginary war between the two or something like that was brewing or whatever. I mean, there was a lot of places they could have went with this character. I mean, even Sokovia was supposed to be a stand-in for Latveria because they didn't have Latveria. So, like, I mean, so actually now they got 3 if you count that.
Why didn't they introduce Latveria in Moon Knight as well?
It may have been mentioned. I didn't finish Moon Knight. Like I'm saying, like, because like Culture said, they've had 5 years now. They could have at some point dropped some teasers, started talking about Victor Von Doom as how he's this philanthropist or whatever, and he's this scientist philanthropist, and he like invents these things and does things kind of like Elon Musk.
As Neil is saying in the chat as well, he's saying you got the Sokovia, that could have been Latveria as well. There's loads of
it originally was from my understanding it was their stand-in for it, because they couldn't use Dr. Doom or Latveria.
And someone is saying that Moon Knight did hint at Latveria. I did think that they did. I thought that they did.
So it has already been brought into it.
They absolutely should have. I mean, they should have done it. They should have done. Doctor Doom was the choice, but they've been it's like been full steam ahead, moving away from these kind of things.
Well, he's kind of the reversal of Black Panther. That's why I said he would have worked really well introducing him there, right? Because like, you got Black Panther who was thrusted into this lead role as opposed to Doom, who, is constantly grabbing for power, and shit like that.
Well, Doom's an interesting character as well, right? Like, I mean, as you said, there's that sort of facet to him, but there's there's a lot of nuance and layers to that character that you could do something really interesting with. So
Andre would be great for this convo because he loves Doctor Doom.
I completely agree. What a shame. I mean, look, do you think anyone's going to be interested in an Avengers Part 1, Part 2?
I mean, at this point, I would not put any money on the future of the Marvel Universe. They would have to go way beyond out of their way to get the audience back. They may be able to pull a few more Spider-Man No Way Homes out of their butts. But what have they really got left besides Spider-Man to do that with at this point? Nobody cares. Like, they're really, and I see that already. That's kind of what's happening with Deadpool 2, right? They're literally pulling in all the old X-Men and stuff like that. And if you believe some of the other rumors, Lord knows who else might show up. But like, we're going to get some cameo porn like James Gunn coined it. for the next couple years because that's all they know how to make work right now. They're gonna fuck up the Fantastic Four again because I think that this franchise is cursed. I think all the people that worked on the original Corman version cursed it forevermore.
I always say this about any of these movies. I said it about Blade. I said it about Fantastic. Any movie that is any story that's very easy, the narrative is very simple. If it takes a long time for them to develop it, it's taken a long time for a reason. And that's because they're trying to figure out how to inject their nonsense politics into it. That's why it takes a long time. And this whole Fantastic Four thing's been a joke because it should be quite a simplistic story. It should not be difficult to crack.
It's Marvel's first family. You just take the first set of books and just go. Yeah. I mean, good grace. I never understand this, right? First of all, putting those types of politics into the stories that are already being told with Fantastic Four is stupid and damn near impossible. You're not going to be able to play into that unless you decide to make these characters something that they're not, and leaning hardcore into the idea that they're all female is really stupid and ridiculous. And I don't see that happening. I do see them making Reed Richards a bad guy, which if they do that, they're going to lose so much ground. I mean, it's just. They can't afford to do that anymore. They've lost all of the goodwill, all the currency of goodwill because of their treatment of the characters in the past. And to take your first swing with like the first family, of the Marvels, that's dumb. You would literally set this back miles and miles, and that's foolhardy.
That's one of the problems you do have. Culture is right already. The Avengers that we're left with right now, again, like I pointed out, outside of basically like Spider-Man, is nobody. Yeah. Thor is the only original member left alive, right? If I remember right, unless I'm forgetting somebody. Hawkeye, but right. he's crippled basically. So
yeah. The actor, he's going to struggle now. I mean,
even in the story, he's deaf and can't barely walk and move and shit.
You are right. Yeah, I mean, there's no one interesting that they've got now, or likable even as an actor. The only likable person, likable character at the moment is, like you say, Spider-Man, Tom Holland. He still sells stuff, but the other people don't. So they need to shuffle on to something, far more interesting. But I don't have faith in it. It is what it is.